who I know, my friends, and my attitude, and like the people I truly love. Like you could take everything, all these extracurriculars away from me, and obviously those things, like I said, I love, but I won't change as a person, you know, because I got too many people who helped me get to the point where I am today. So.
Nothing like stars from a paradise. Don't care, cause there's magic in the air tonight. Pretty girl in my ear, she the rarest type. Heaven on earth is right here tonight. I'm in the dream state. I'm in the dream state.
We have the creator, the owner of Grateful Grails, and there is much more to the story than that. Andrew Habeeb. How we doing, brother?
How we doing? Pleasure to be here. I'm very excited. So.
This one was on the schedule for a while. We've been trying to line it up.
Yeah.
We've been trying to line up a couple different spots.
Yeah.
But we are at your storage unit right now, the Grateful Grails warehouse.
Yeah. And Thrifter's Ways. So I have to shout because that's his half. So we kind of own it together. But it's both of ours. But
yeah. So we met. Not too long ago.
Yeah, my birthday, yeah.
Yeah, in the beginning of summer, which was Memorial Day weekend.
My birthday was Memorial Day, so.
It was?
Yes, so the next Monday was Memorial Day. The night, once 12 o'clock hit at Headliner, it was my birthday, so.
And we were there Sunday night.
Yeah, so Monday was my birthday, yeah.
Because Cisneros was playing, as well as.
Josie opened, yeah. Cisneros closed, Jason Keats, the B2B2B.
What a lineup. Josie first, then Cisnero, then Keats, and then it was Disco Lines was the headliner, right?
Yep.
And then the B3B of Cisnero, Keats, and Darian from 1 to 2 a.m. was the most electric night in history. We referenced it on the Cisnero episode.
Yes.
I mean, that was unbelievable. And then just to add to the effect of the night, your birthday was at 12 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was absolutely electric.
It was just crazy. That night literally set the summer, like probably the craziest summer I would say I could have ever had or anybody could have ever had. The people I even met, like, you know, Italo, Rich, and all them, I literally met them 2 days ago prior to that. It's a crazy story, and I'll tell it real quick. So basically, me and Chris go to the shore. We're like, it's a Jersey Shore summer, obviously, and Memorial Day weekend, that's the place to be. So it's me and Chris, and then we're trying to find a place to stay. We didn't really have any place to stay. We're literally bouncing around. We call Tony Lake at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and he's nowhere to be found, but basically, we asked Italo, hey, can we just shower at your house real quick? We're looking for a spot. And he basically was like, you guys can just stay here for the weekend. And then if it wasn't for him or Italo, our whole summer would have been crazy different. So shout out to Italo, and Rich and Goose and Jared, because they fucking set the summer like nobody else. Like, we ran the show. It wasn't even close.
It wasn't even close. And that, first of all, that collective in that house, the fact that that house is still standing, was not burnt to the ground, is very impressive. I mean, it was the energy that existed within was crazy. And then add you and Cisneros to the mix. That's such a funny story, especially, we called up Tony Lake. If you're in a jam, Tony Lake is the guy to call. He's the guy.
No, he's the guy.
And shout out to Tony Lake, absolute legend. But, you guys formed an absolutely elite squad at DJs all the time. Of course, Italo, he has the clip of him dancing. I just saw him this weekend, as I mentioned to you. He started working at the new spot, the Waiting Room in Hoboken, which is a great spot. I believe DQ's a partner in it. Sally Beatbox, shout out to him. He was there when I was there. And it's a great spot. It's right next to Green Rock, right across from Pig and Parrot. They're going to have a lot of traffic going in and out of there. But I saw him, and I walked in. He's like, dude, what are you doing here? I was like, I saw you working. I stopped by. I was up for dinner in Jersey City. But really a great squad. We connect Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
Obviously, Cisnero and I were very close from everything that happened at Reds. And then when I first met you, I started to connect the dots of, like, this guy is, like, Cisnero's manager. Like, he's the guy keeping him in line about it. I'm like, when Cisnero goes, and I think he said, recently he's been saying he's got to take a break from the drinking, but, I mean, I don't know if anybody has more fun than him when they drink. He's off the radar. But when I met you, I was like, Habeeb is the guy that Cisnero needs to keep him in check.
Yeah.
Like, it's a perfect balance.
It is. We're like yin and yang. We're like black and white. Like, anything you could think of, peanut butter and jelly, it's me and Chris. And, like, biggest shout out to him, because he's literally such a brother to me, and, like, basically showed me the whole nightlife industry. Everything that I know today about that is all through Chris, because for those who don't know, I am only 22, like, which is, like, I know a lot of people were very surprised to find that out. I don't know if I, like, carry myself a little older or anything, but I am also with, like, a bunch of older people.
Yeah.
But basically how me and Chris met, I was best friends with Danielle ever since 5th grade. So we're the same age, go to the same school and everything. And then obviously, like, Carrie, we were all one big group of friends. And then I knew Chris like growing up, but we were never like super tight. Obviously, there's a huge age gap, and then as soon as we became really good friends, not this summer but last summer towards the end. Danielle was like, come out to DJs, come out to here, and like I was never like a homebody. I went out, but like that wasn't even my life yet. I wasn't even old enough to do those things. And then the minute I did, I found like a million opportunities for myself, and then me and Chris clicked immediately. And the first night we actually had like, because it was always me, Danielle, and Chris, and then he was like, yo, so this is the type of person Chris was. He's like, yo, so I'm going to Headliner tonight, meeting up with some friends, and then we're going to go to Lavo. You down for that? It's just a random night in August. Not this summer, but last summer. And I'm like, I don't even know where Lavo is. And I'm like, you know what? I'm down. And then ever since then, it's been a wild ride, you know. But yeah, I would say I'm the person who keeps Cisneros in check, making sure, which is not an easy job. But
that is not an easy job.
No, because he loves to have fun, and I don't blame him. But it's like, it's a little different because obviously I'm an athlete, so like I can't go crazy hard like he does, you know. Like I don't drink as much as they do, which is fine. But if I gotta wake up and do a run, I cannot drink as much as he does. You know?
I mean, and so you're at Ryder, correct?
Right, yeah.
So you run for Ryder, correct?
Yeah, I run cross country, track and field. I was blessed with the opportunity to go there when I graduated my senior year. I've been a runner my whole life, and we can get into that too. But long story short, I reached out to the program, and then shout out to my coach, Coach Hamer, incredible coach, and he gave me the opportunity to run there, and it's been a crazy ride. It's been sad. It's been happy. There's been a whole bunch of things, but like I said, we can get into that. But I'm really happy to be there, and it's my last year, so I got 2 more seasons left, and I'm ready to race. So
yeah, well, that was one of the places. So with the podcast, the idea I was trying to get going with it is like doing vlog footage to go along with the actual podcast. You know, look more into the person's life, like, because we explained it on the podcast, you talk about it. It would be cool to have the clips of the person actually doing that, whoever the guest is. So I didn't even realize you ran for Ryder until Atlantic City, which was just last month. It just happened. And you were like, that's a whole nother, thing we could talk about. And we were talking about possibly doing the podcast at Ryder and going through. But again, that's a lot, because you're doing so much when you're there.
Yeah, and also it's like, it's kind of funny. I guess I'm like a jack of all trades, but there is a lot of things I technically do. And like some people don't understand other aspects of life. Like my teammates are not going to really like understand this part of life. And the same thing, my friends from down the shore, my home friends, the people I work with in New York with clothes and all those things, like there's like a million different people in like 4 or 5 different circles. So a lot of people don't know that I run, but then there's a whole bunch of people I grew up with like, oh yeah, they know me as a runner. Some people know me as the clothing vintage guy. Some people know me as like, oh, I've modeled in New York City like a couple times, So it just depends who you ask. Yeah. And that's how, so.
Yeah, that was a big thing at Reds too, was like everybody just knew I was the owner of Reds.
Right, yeah.
But then they found out, they see the alumni game clips that I just posted. They're like, this dude dropped bombs in baseball. Yeah. And they see me skating in Hawaii. They're like, yo, Red actually skates. Yeah. And it's like, it is what you just said, depending on what circle you talk to or what circle you find yourself in, like other people won't know.
Yeah, and like not to get deep too early, but I've always said like when I was younger, I was like, what else can I be? Like I was trying to like, cause I played poker for a while too. Like there's so many things. Yeah,
we're getting into it. I can't wait
into it. Yeah, dude. There was so many things I was doing and things I really enjoyed and like loved to do. But at the end of the day, like you could take all those things away from me, but I'm still Andrew Habeeb. Like there's that you can't take away from me. It's like who I know, my friends, and my attitude, and like the people I truly love. Like you could take everything, all these extracurriculars away from me, and obviously those things, like I said, I love, but I won't change as a person, because I got too many people who helped me get to the point where I am today. So.
Damn, fire me up early in this fucking podcast right now. Mikey's kids, Mike and Known, we were just talking about this.
Shout out to Mike and Known. Dude. That guy, God, he deserves a gold fucking medal for what. This guy, talk about a professional at fire somebody up.
Yep.
If you didn't see the clip, go to Red's clips on his podcast.
Oh, dude. I'll clip it in right here. Yeah. Him firing you up.
Clip it in right now.
Andrew, I'm with Habeeb. He's the guy right now. Like, dude, I watched that clip and I was like, I sent it to him, and I always send the clips to people before I post them just to make sure.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, "You think I said right now too much?" I was like, "Absolutely not." I was like, "I think you could have said it more."
Yeah, you didn't say-
every time you said it, I got more and more fired up in that.
You didn't
clip.
say it enough.
Yeah, and he's just like one of my number one guys. Like I talk to him pretty much every day. But we were talking about that because he recently retired from professional baseball, and really his
I
whole
didn't know
life
that.
that's what he did.
Yeah.
But I always tried to hammer in the fact to him. I was like, you're Micah known. Baseball isn't who you are; it's what you did. Whatever you do next, you're still going to bring that same energy.
Right,
And that's
yeah.
a concept you were just talking
Yeah,
about.
and I think it's important to be like that because if you're a person who, and I'm not saying there's wrong to be obsessed with your craft. I think that's what gets you to the successful point that you want to be. But as soon as that could be stripped away, because in reality, a lot of things can just be pulled out from under the rug from what we're doing right now, and it's really important to like focus on like who you are as a person, your character, and like how you interact with people. Like I was always one of those people like. Every time I went to New York, someone was acting way too big for who they were. Like, the club scene gets really annoying and, like, not my favorite forte. Obviously, like, with Chris and everything, like, me being there, like, and I know I could speak for him, too. He doesn't love it as much, and we're looking for, like, bigger things. But I don't think you could be Michael Jordan. You shouldn't act like you're too big for anybody, you know?
Yep. And you know what you'll find, too, is I think some of the people that are at the highest level of what they do, they are good people, and you'll find that they are the ones that never act too big for anybody. They're the ones who will greet people, and through the whole Reds connection, it's interesting you say that too. Before I go into that, Cisnero, the reason I became so close with him, with Brant, and then all those other kids that were there during that pandemic year where it really took off is because the energy was very similar. And I'm the same way. I don't like going to these places where people will act too big. And as soon as I find myself in a situation where I feel like somebody is acting like that or they think they're big, because again, if you take away what they're good at and them doing what they're good at, who are they? So take them outside of that position or outside of that scene, and then who are they? You know, because they may be treating you a certain way because they're in their element when you meet them. Like maybe you're at the club scene and they're very well known in nightlife. They might act like they're big shit or whatever. And then you take them out of it and all of a sudden you do something else and maybe they need your help. That person's going to remember, oh no, you treated me
It's funny
like
you
shit.
said that because that's what's happened, you know, like
all the time.
It's like, you know, I'll meet people in New York and it's, what do you call it? I meet people in New York and they're like, I've modeled in New York and I've done certain things in New York. Like I have first of all, shout out to Nick Norman, who I'm actually wearing. He owns a thrift shop, owns 3 shops in New York City. And I met him through an old business partner that I had and just basically straight off networking. And he was the coolest guy ever. And he's like a professional model and does all those things. But it's a constantly returning favors, you know, and no one's like too big for anybody. I don't treat anybody like, you know, like brush them off, you know, because you'll see that all the time. And then like, I knew that personally, and that's why another reason me and Chris connected so well, because he's not somebody who brushes people off either.
Never.
He'll welcome you open arms. Yeah, you need a guest list? He's got 75 people on his guest list. The clubs are like, we went to summer club and the manager's like, you got to cut the guest list, dude. Because he's like, you got way too many people. And he's like, these are my friends. Like, what do you want me to do? You know?
He is the type of guy. And again, talking about all those kids that were at Reds that year that I became very close with, they're all like that. They all want to include everybody. And it's tough to find people like that because especially it's just like nowadays I feel like there's so many people that are just looking to, and I even saw that shift in Reds after they all left. More people were just concerned with kind of just staying with their crew. They want, but when you meet a group of people, energy is such a telltale sign. It's so, and again, when I first met you, what's this now? I was like, yo, this kid Habeeb right here is like the fucking guy. And Keith said the same thing, dude. He's like, bro, I love Habeeb. I'm like, man, the squad that we traveled down to go to Keith's show with was unbelievable. And it's just the energy surrounding that. That's who you want to be around. Especially when you're going to events like that.
I'll take that squad over anybody. Dude. And like, I don't know if we can say this on the clip, but you can cut it, but Jason Keats with that leg kick.
Dude, absolutely electric, dude.
So some drunk guy in Atlantic City's playing
love this,
blackjack with us, right? And by the way, I'm not the biggest guy just because I took a little break from the gym, but because I'm a runner. But what do you call it? I'm with Red, who's a pretty tall guy. Chris is a pretty tall guy. Unknown wasn't there that time.
No. But Josie
was and Jason was. And Luke. So, like, I'm around big guys. So, not that I'm talking shit, but I'm ready to go, you know? And, what do you call it? And we're walking back. This drunk guy follows us back to Jason's room. And Jason's like, I forget what he said. He said
Very nicely. He
very
said.
nice. Yeah, no, he was polite. He just basically like, I think this is where we part ways. And then the guy was like, what? And I guess he smacked Jason Keats' wallet out of his hand and tried to punch him in the face.
Yeah.
That didn't go well. He didn't. It wasn't too crazy, but Jason took care of him a little bit. We broke it up real quick, and then it was that was that. But that was just like
Leg kick to the ribs.
oh.
Because that dude, while I was on my blackjack run, which is when we were sitting
my
down,
God.
you, Gab,
Yeah.
Keats for a minute, and then myself were at the table, and we were playing, and we were all running for a bit. As soon as Keats sat down next to me, I started hitting. I started going on a run.
Let me tell you, there's strategy to blackjack. He plays the red strategy, where it's like, I'm telling him like hit, and he's like, I'm gonna stand on this one, right? And I'm like, what? And then it's like $200 bet, double right away. When I'm like, I'm just gonna let him do his thing, because he just doubled up like maybe 5 times.
No, what I was running that night was whenever I would go on a little bit of a run, as soon as Keats sat down, and then as soon as I lost that run, I doubled the bet. So I started with 50 once he sat down, and then I went on a little run, switched it to 100 once I lost the hand, and then switched it to 200. Then I went up another 100, 300, 400, and then you were like, dude, what are you doing? I went fucking $500 hand, hit blackjack, and we were out.
Yeah, we were out.
But that kid was behind me the whole time, and he had just, I thought somebody knew him, because again, talking about the squad, we all know each other when we're there, and we meet each other, and we know we're all connected, but I don't know who else knows who.
Right.
So I thought maybe he knew somebody. So we're all walking back to the elevator after to go up to the room, and Keats is asking every single person, and he goes, who knows this guy?
Yeah.
Like, does anybody know this guy? And
Nobody.
We get to the elevator, and he goes, we're all going up to my room. Do you know anybody here? And he was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, do you know anybody here? We're all going up. We're all friends. And he was like, no. And Keats asked all of us. He's like, nobody knows this guy, right? And we all said no. He's like, all right, we're going to part ways here. He put his hand out for a handshake.
Yeah, handshake.
And the kid shoved him.
Yeah.
So then Keats was like, okay, let's run it, baby. And then I walked out. I was like, no, whatever. But the kid kept going forward towards Keats.
Yeah.
And then he ended up getting a sidekick to the ribs around Cisnero, because the fucking wallet got smacked. You grabbed Keats' wallet.
I know, yeah. I'm always rebounding something with all those guys.
Absolutely electric.
Yeah.
But, and that was really where the first time we all went down there and kind of formed that squad, and then the next time we added even more people.
I met Dom Dalla, so like, which is like,
dude, that clip, I need to clip that in.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say this in the clip, and not to like boost myself up, but if you see the clip, Dom Dalla daps me up.
Dom Dalla dapped you up.
Me up. So I didn't like really go out. I was just standing there, and it's funny because I had the mustache going, which honestly I didn't even do on purpose. Like, I get very bored with my facial hair, like my hair scheme. So anytime I want to switch something up, I'll go straight mustache or like. And Luke rocks the same thing. So I was thinking of Luke more than Dom Dalla. And then I was just like, I'm going straight mustache. And he must have saw that I had it just like him, and he dapped me up right away. And like, the amount of people that like 30 people liked my story, and I was like, wow, like everyone loves Dom Dalla.
Dude, I lost it when Josie showed me that clip. He goes, yo, Red, check this out. Because he filmed it, and he shows me the clip, and you're just standing there. Dom's about to walk on stage. We're a little bit behind the stairs, and you're right there, right next to the stairs, and he daps you up. Like, he saw the stash, because I didn't even realize this was a thing, but it is true. Like, he has just a mustache, so people bring those mustaches.
Yeah.
Like, I have the clips of all the girls.
Yeah, that whole table right there, those guys had all the mustaches.
And so he must have thought that that's what you were rocking it for, and he put the hand out, and then you turn around and look at Josie and just start laughing. I was
Josie's
dying,
screaming,
dude.
you understand? So that's his brother right there. And I'm like, I'm dying, bro. Like, that is so funny.
That was electric. And then that was right when he walked up, and I remember I went to film for Keats, and we have that's why we have all those clips from the day. But I remember thinking when we first got there, all right, when Dom Dalla comes on stage, I got to remember to make sure I get him and Keats like dapping each other up. Because that always happens. Keats always opens right before the biggest guy, because they always know he holds it down.
Right,
so they always put him right before the headliner.
Right.
And like when Mal P came into the booth, when we opened for Mal P, which was the first AC trip.
Yeah, that wasn't actually, me and Chris met Mal P prior to that. Which
yes, because Cisneros calling him Maurice.
Yeah, and it's funny because we got a lot of stories to tell, but basically, I could sum this one up real quick. This was in April. Me and Chris basically was like, yo, Mal P's doing a pop-up in New York, let's go. And we went for one reason only, so we can get Chris's USB into Mal P's hand. Mm-hmm. It's the only reason we went. Like, I had work the next morning, I had practice, I'm like, dude, if I'm going, like, we gotta be in and out.
On a fucking mission.
Right, yeah, no, literally like a mission. Like, we're not going to party, we're not going to drink, and I'm like, I looked him right in the eyes, I'm like, dude, we are going to get this USB to him, and then we're fucking leaving, we're out, right? So we get there, and we're with Chris's like old manager at the time, and then it's just a whole group, and they really wanted to stay, and they didn't understand that we wanted to go, so we just kind of got frustrated with the situation. But me and Chris are just standing outside. By the way, like, I know how to dress, and I'm in work clothes, so I'm like, I felt so out of place, you know, like I would pull up with a leather jacket, jeans, you know, I know how to do it, and I'm just like, you know, he's not coming. Apparently he wasn't coming. I just wanted to go. Right before we're about to leave, this black car, Mercedes, pulls up. Malpe gets out of it. Me and Chris are standing right there. Chris daps him up, says, yo, like, please listen to my music, gives him the USB. It was like, I'm talking like a movie. Like, it's like, and especially me and Chris, it feels like everything just happens like meant to be. When everything gets fucked up, it eventually just happens. It's how it's supposed to go. Like, I'm telling you, you could look at the day that's about to happen and be like, wow, how are you going to be from Philly to New York back to the shore? Because that shit has happened, you know? And
yeah, and then also, like you were saying, like Summer Club down to the shore, back up to Summer Club, back to Lavo. It's insane, but it's true. You can't, those opportunities will not present themselves unless you create the opportunities first. And that's so major, and I think for anybody who does something like Cisnero, and tries to push their music out and you know, plays these big shows, the only way you're going to get your music to these people or get the exposure like directly to them is to go where they are.
Right.
Because if you don't go, then what's the alternative? You're just going to have the USB in your pocket. The whole,
Right.
It's just going to be where it was. And those opportunities, believe it or not, like you just said, it wasn't exactly how you planned it.
No.
But here he comes getting out of the black Mercedes or whatever it was, and done. Here's
Yeah.
the USB, and it works. And then, of course, Keats opens up for him.
right.
And
Malpe definitely recognized him,
he
like,
did.
for sure.
He did, yeah.
And
because he walked off, and Cisneros was like, Maurice.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he's like, who's calling me Maurice?
Right.
And he looks, and he's like, yo, what's up? And he dapped him up.
Yeah, and dude, Malpe is insane. Like I saw him at the Ave. That was the first time Chris actually met him 3 times. Like, he's just like, that's the thing. He'll casually meet someone like 3 times and just forget to mention it. He was like, oh yeah, you know, like I forget the artist. He said on your podcast, I don't know if it was Diplo with Polka Bounce. He'll just he'll say that shit so casually, you know, like he's just like, oh yeah, Diplo.
He's like that's when Diplo started following me. And all this.
Like, it's just so funny. But
it is crazy. It's one connection away, one
it
night
is.
away from going, one trip, taking it up, and that's what I did notice about you and Cisnero as well as a team.
Yeah.
You guys will take the trip because you know that opportunity is not going to present itself if you don't go.
Yeah, and like I'm the type of attitude like, I don't do no as an answer. Like, I always find a way. You got to find a way. And especially if it makes sense and if you want to do it, I don't see why you should ever, you know, I don't believe that life is short. I believe it's actually pretty long, but it will get pretty damn short if you miss all these opportunities, you know? So you really got to take advantage of. And a lot of people, like back home, kind of weren't understanding what I was doing. Because from the outside, it looks like a lot of partying. And I get that, but they don't understand. Like, me and Chris would be like, okay, Chris had his lineup, and he was a house resident DJ for Summer Club. But now, when the summer ends, he's talking to me, looking at things like, okay, should I do this one? Should I do this one? And we're going over that together. And those are the things like people don't see, and it's important. And now we're tackling it a little bit more organized than we did in the summer, because the summer there's so many freaking things going on, and especially, I want everyone to try to do the drive from 412 18th Ave to fucking Summer Club. It's an hour and 45 minutes. Good luck, by the way. And we went to bed at 4 a.m. the night before. And we're getting there. His set's he took a motorcycle one time because, did you see this?
Dude, that was so funny.
We actually left early. We're 15 minutes away, and he goes on in 30 minutes, which is incredible timing for how we do it, because we're never on time to Summer Club. The guy, the manager, Matt's like, can you stop drinking at DJ's down the shore and get here on time? You know, like, he's like not having it with us. But yeah, we were there on time for one time, right? This is probably the craziest night of my life, because I actually almost died. Like, I'm not even kidding, like, died.
I believe it.
I'll tell you about it. So we're on the bridge to get to Queens. This guy's car is broken down on the most narrow path bridge I've ever seen, right? And he's like, my car won't move. I've been here for an hour. And I'm like, that kind of makes sense, because to get in there, it was impossible because it was all blocked off. So that guy's not moving, right? And we're like, Chris is like literally like, dude, we can never get here on time. Nothing's going our way, right? Then there's this guy named Mo. Shout out to fucking Mo. On a moped motorcycle, one of those like 35-mile-an-hour ones, right behind us. And then Chris was like, well, it kind of went off in my head like, yo, he can get around in the motorcycle. I said, see if he could take you real quick. Give him like $100 or something, you know?
Yeah.
And then Chris was like, hey man, can I give you $100 and to go to summer club? He's like, I'll guest list you. I'll get you mad bitches.
Yeah, that was his. I remember
that was his line, right? And what do you call it? The guy was like, don't worry about the money. I'll just take you. And Mo got on the motorcycle, took Chris, and made it on time. And me, Don Bibbs, and Anthony, Chris's friend, we circled back around. We made it, and we were only like 15 minutes late. But it was just the fact of making it work, and it's just a crazy story.
Those types of things happen, and people don't even realize because, again, when Cisneros is posting all the follow-up clips, like everybody saw that clip because somebody filmed it.
Yeah.
It was Antonio.
Yeah, Antonio.
Yeah, Antonio. Shout out to Antonio. Dude,
yeah.
He's family,
yeah.
bro. He's family. He's the guy, bro.
Facts.
I love him. But he filmed it, so we actually, like you saw behind the scenes, people don't understand what it takes to always get to everything you have going on, and then they only see, like, usually Cisneros will post his clips and they see the show and it's like, great.
Right.
You never see what happens.
Well, people are asking like, are you teleporting places? Because it's like you're at summer club.
What the hell, dude?
You're at summer club because earlier in the summer his sets were so early. He was doing like the daytime sets, and he's a great daytime. I think he does the best daytime DJ sets. Like he gets any type of pool club. That is like his forte, in my opinion. Like he could play at any type of club, but the forte with the like summer club especially. But we had to be there at 12, which is very hard on a Sunday morning in New York City. So, and then we would be at DJ's at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
So it's like people are like, I'd post a snap of Chris, and then I'm at West Bar. And
it's insane.
Like, and it's just.
I remember being out on the porch with Pringle. Obviously, that's our guy. He's always slinging drinks out on the porch usually. And they had Christine out there a lot. Shout out to Christine as well. And you walk through the 2 doors at DJ's to come outside of the porch, and I was like, dude, weren't you guys just up in New York City?
Yeah.
Like, we came down.
Yeah.
We fucking sent it.
It's like, I had to see you,
dude,
man.
Well, the summer is for sending. Like, that
Yes.
especially when you live in Jersey, it is unmatched. Nobody does it like Jersey in the summer.
No.
It is absolutely unmatched. There's just too many options, and they're all good. Like, anywhere you go, it will be a good time.
Right.
It depends what your vibe is. You could pick and choose your place. I don't do the pastels and all that, the white polo T-shirts and all that. I don't do that. I do the heaters and the trenches.
Because I went to Parker House
Yeah.
and like God's Basement, right? And I was like, I don't really like this place. 'Cause everyone acts way too preppy. Like I like the vintage look, you know? I like my favorite fit was walking into Labor Day weekend, and I had a leather jacket. It was hot out too. I don't know what I was wearing. I was in Itolos, and we were just like, everyone was just like, the energy was up. And I remember Jimmy Buffett died. And
Yes, I do remember.
I had a vintage Jimmy Buffett long sleeve, and I was like, I wonder if this thing's gonna sell. An hour later, it sold on eBay, and I was just like, you know what? Like I was just in a mood to go dress up, so I wore a leather jacket, that denim bucket hat I have, the Raver sunglasses, black motorcycle pants, and I wore cowboy boots, and I walked in DJs, and people were just like, what the fuck is this guy wearing? And I was just like, get with it or get lost.
Yeah, 100%. Well, the thing is there too, the majority, again, you'll see the black on black with the chain and the watch and all that, but there is some style that goes on there. And your style is so unique. That kind of, I guess, here we are at the warehouse now in your shop. But when did you get into all that? Like, when did you develop a love and a passion for style, and when did it turn to vintage, or was it vintage off the bat?
No, that's a great question. So I started thrifting before, so I don't know if thrifting got really popular, I would say like 2020, like right after COVID. Everyone was thrifting, like, but prior to that, like I would go with Carrie and Corey, the 2 people here right now. We would go in like 2016, and I remember Carrie just started thrifting like 2015 prom shirts, like just random shirts, and he would wear them to football practice, and the coach was like, what the hell you were doing with a Hillsborough 2015 like t-shirt? But that's what we were doing, and I would just thrift, and I really enjoyed it. Like I liked finding something cheap that I could wear that looked good, but it was never vintage. And then 2020, so a lot of people don't know this, before Grateful Grails, it was called Bad Kid Thrift. It was called that for like maybe like, I would say 8 months. And it was just thrifting clothes. It was just like not really vintage, and I didn't have the knowledge that I did now. And that was like, I think 2020. Shout out to Matt Helmstetter, because he was there when I made the page. That's one of my best friends from growing up. But he literally saw me make the page, saw me go thrifting for like one of the first times for the page. So, and then I started learning about vintage single stitch t-shirts. Like started like, now you can throw a piece of clothing at me, I'll be able to tell you anything about it. But it started transitioning into vintage, and then the whole world was thrifting, I felt like, in 2020, 2021. And then I just went all in on it, and I ended up like really getting my page together. And it actually links a lot with my running because unfortunately I've been battling like an injury with my running for the past year and a half. That is cardiovascular. So it's not which is a really tough injury to have because it's really easy to see when someone has like a torn ACL and they're in a boot and everyone can visually see that. But people see me going out and people see me doing all these things and they're probably like, oh, he looks fine. But every time I run, I'm in pain. So it was such a tough injury to deal with, and I'm still kind of dealing with it. And I went to like a million doctors. I went to my sports doctor at school, which he's actually really good. But there was just really no alternative for me to get back to the athlete that I was. But the opportunity that it gave me to work on my clothes was huge because Grateful Grails would not be able to do this now without me getting hurt. So that's why I always said, like, take advantage of every opportunity. I'm actually grateful, ironically, that that everything happened the way it did. Like, I wouldn't go back and switch anything. And I'm just happy I got hurt 2 years ago versus when I was in high school because I would have gone crazy. I didn't have this outlet, and this outlet literally saved me, I would say, with like my mental clarity and really like brought me into a whole new world where I'm like, and I love growing my business. And it's just like I would recommend anybody, like, and I told my brother and sister this, if you don't know what you want to do, find a passion and start a business with it because you're investing in yourself. You know, like you are the business. Like you're not alive, the business dies. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Same
Same thing with you, with the bar, with the podcast, with everything you're doing. You are the business.
Yep.
It's red. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? So I just enjoyed working on this because it helped me work so much on myself and everything I want to do in life. So yeah, so it all started just thrifting in 2016 and then progressively getting back into it, getting hurt, and then going straight in on a whole vintage business. So
it's crazy how when something happens, it's tough to see what positive might come from it, but then when that positive thing comes, and you might not even realize it in the moment, but when you look back, you kind of find out how crazy it is. Like, you got injured and you're like, damn, like you were running, that was your thing.
Yeah.
And then that is what ends up getting you to where you are now. Now you have this whole shop, you're selling all these clothes, it's your business that you created, and it was all a byproduct of getting injured. You needed something else to do, and that's where your passion for style kind of came out.
yeah, and because I always loved style, I love dressing up, and like I would say, like, if I had a catalog of my styles throughout the years, it definitely has changed a lot. And but I would say like recently I've been really challenging myself to really break like we talked about society before, like kind of fuck any societal norm. I like going at it, you know, like someone would say, like, because I've done modeling and other things and styling like that, and there's supposed to be like a motto that you stick with depending on a shoot or depending on where you go. Like, people are like, oh, you can't wear a leather jacket to Parker House. Well, I'm be like, well, I don't care what they say. I'm wearing a leather jacket to wherever the hell I want to go because that's me. You know what I'm saying? So I always like breaking the social norm around a place, and people always ask me, like, yo, can I wear this there? Should I wear this there? I said, you wear whatever you want, and if you need help with an outfit, I could definitely help you. So
100%.
Yeah.
Style by Grateful Grails, dude. It's just classic. But yo, that is such an important point, and it truly, I question why in today's day and age anybody questions going against societal norms, because there's so many different people out there that are proven to be successful by going against it.
Yeah, and I said a quote, I forget who. Well, not a quote, because I kind of came up with it. And I was like, if you think about society, it was created by a group of people who don't even like us. That's what society is. You know what I'm saying? Like, go to your job, do what you're supposed to do, stay in line, don't cause it. Like, I don't want to cause ruckus. You know, like, not organized ruckus, not Cisneros ruckus, but keep that in there. Keep that in there.
That's 100%.
Yeah, because his ruckus is up here. But I want to cause ruckus in the sense of, like, I'm wearing an outfit that I absolutely love that turns a head or people compliment on it. Like, I went to Nashville for spring break last year, and everyone wears cowboy boots. And my dad gave me these vintage cowboy boots that he actually, like, picked up my mom in this bar, and they ended up getting married off it. So I was like, had these, like, I'm like, I got to keep these boots. So I wear them all the time. Like, I just wore them to Alumni Day the other day. And people don't even understand, like, in Jersey, like, cowboy boots are big everywhere else in the Midwest, South, and they're not big here. So I take advantage of that. Like, hey, I'm going to wear cowboy boots. I'm going to rock them because I know nobody wears them here, you know? So
Absolutely. And it's shout out to the boots are those the boots that you wore for the Tulo Bylaw release party?
That is the boots.
Pair?
Yeah, no, that's the boots.
Those are absolutely electric.
those.
That the clip of you, I go from the boots and then I go up and you flipped it, and
So
then I was
for
like, yo,
some-
we got to do that again with the camera, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No,
electric.
those boots are great. You know, I didn't. It's really funny how my dad gave them to me because I was going to Florida with my team, and I don't really wear suits a lot, you know, unless I'm like going to a wedding or something like that. Which I want to actually like start. I got a lot of new fashion stuff coming, so like for all of you, so you better watch out.
Let's
like,
fucking go.
A lot. Like I'm gonna pull up to a bar in a suit one day. You're not gonna know what's gonna hit you. But
Let's fucking go.
I was told my dad, I'm like, I don't really have any dress shoes. You have any dress shoes that fit me? And I'm looking through. I'm like, what are these? I pull out these keys. Like, yeah, you can have those if you want. Those are my old cowboy boots. I put them on. They fit like a glove, and I was like, I gotta keep these. So I wore them as dress shoes because you obviously can only see the bottoms for the trip. And everyone was like, man, those are cool shoes. Now I'd pull them up, and they were like, oh, those are really cool shoes.
That's
so,
what happened at the
yeah,
release
the
party.
Same thing,
You're like, yo, check it out. I pulled it up. It was the cowboy boots. I was
Yeah.
like, no fucking way. But it is cool to, especially when you have such a passion for it, to be able to go against the grain and go against what everybody thinks should be worn. Like, I told you me, I'm black on black.
Yeah.
Pair of dunks to match whatever I got. See, right now we got the Great
Yeah.
Rails red leather jacket.
Great story on that
And,
one. But
we're going to get into that. But usually I'll just rock, you know, a pair of dunks and then black on black. Very simple. But when you have a passion for it and then you could go against what everybody thinks is acceptable.
Yeah.
And it all looks good.
Yeah,
You know
I
how to
mean,
pair things.
Yeah, and technically you're doing it too, like because you didn't have a red leather jacket before that one,
no.
so you know what I'm saying. So you even went against like your own, even though it's the black on black, now it's the red leather jacket.
Yeah, it would have just
too.
been sweatshirt. Like
Yeah.
that's all I'm not, Sam Johnson, shout out Sam Johnson
Yo,
again, gets a shout out every podcast. And I know you guys became friends
we
recently,
did.
but
I just saw him yesterday.
he is the one who got me into dunks, and I talked about it on the podcast with him. It's cool to be part of something like when you wear sneakers out like Dunks or Jordan 1s, whatever, there's a whole sneakerhead community. And it's cool when you go outside and you start to see that there's a lot of people that wear those, but there's a deeper meaning behind it all. And I wear these because Sam Johnson and I became so close at Reds, and he's the one who got me into them. So now, like, when we were going out together, we were always looking at the next dunk we were going to buy. Because, again, around that time, just like you said, when vintage and thrift kind of came back, dunks were going crazy.
Yeah,
the dunk
dunks,
hype was nuts.
And I'm not a huge sneakerhead. Carrie's more in that department, but I have a little bit of knowledge on shoes now. But so 2016, 17, 18 was hype beast to the max. He was doing SneakerCon. He was doing all the reselling of shoes. I wasn't even selling clothes at the time. And then the flip came in 2020 where vintage was it. And then people started wearing dunks and vintage together. You go to ThriftCon or anything like that, that is the combo. A vintage single
it was
stitch shirt.
insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
So it's nuts. And but I do like my whole sneaker game actually has been revamped due to the fact that we have it now, our own little sneaker section in this unit right now. But there's probably some shoes you would like back there.
Oh,
for
100%.
sure. But
I was looking before.
Yeah, I know.
I
Yeah,
saw that, I was like, yo.
I'm about to shop before this thing even starts.
But it is true. Like, just, and going against the grain and being able to do it in a way that works, which is crazy because some people may not think that. But then when you look at it, you're like, damn, that actually does go together.
Yeah, no, it does. And, you know, everyone's opinion on clothes is going to be different. You know, like if I go up to like an athlete friend or even my dad, they'll be like, what the hell are you wearing? And I'll be like, I'm wearing what works for me. What are you wearing? You know what I'm saying? Because it's not meant to be understood for everybody. And that's the thing. I don't think you should be doing anything that should be understood for everybody, because anything that's universally accepted isn't unique, you know? So, like, I want Grateful Grails to be catered to, you know, obviously to anybody who's interested in it and like a large audience, but specifically to people who like want to be wearing vintage, who want to be wearing new types of items, who want to basically like go against the grain with their clothing, you know? Because I carry a lot of specific items that like kind of go against the grain. Like a 1980s yellow Toltex hoodie. You know, like no one's wearing this color who's not confident. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
You know, you got to be. And I could sauce up a fit right now with that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I would walk out as confident as I am in this right now, you know?
Yep.
So
yeah, your ability to put the styles together. It's even when Cisnero did the podcast, you
Yeah.
styled him for it.
Yeah, so I got some amazing opportunities to style people, and I kind of became like a self-proclaimed stylist. Like, I styled Chris for a bunch of events. I styled Darian for a pop-up that we did, and then another event. I styled a bunch of girls for just random events, and then like Anybody who was my friend, I did it for free, and then there were some people who actually wanted to be styled professionally, which was a good opportunity for myself, obviously. So that's what I was saying, like I'm a little bit like jack of all trades, like stylist, runner, vintage owner, technically like Chris's affiliate / we can get into
Manager is
that.
a lock, dude. That's like auto lock.
Yeah.
Definitely Cisneros manager.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But also because he needs, or anybody in general, you need somebody you could trust.
That's the
and
big.
you need a good person by you, someone that you know is going to ride with you no matter what, and it has your best interest at heart, and it isn't going to screw you. And I can see that you guys have that relationship.
Yeah, and he really became one of my best friends, even a brother. Like he'll stay at my house all the time because he lives in PA. So like he's not really, and obviously his aunt lives here and everything. But I'm like, dude, my brother lives up north. I got an extra couch and bed in my room. Anytime you want to crash, you can. And obviously, like, that's going to happen a lot considering the situation that he's in. But trust is huge because you can't buy trust. And there's a lot of people in that industry will backstab you for money, for fame, for anything. And obviously, we're not at a point where we're, like, really famous. But Chris and the whole entourage that we're with like, you, Jason Keats, Josie, even people like Italo, all those people, like, I have a bunch of businesses to shout out, like Silky Club, Jack Zhang, Sunday Buckets, all those people.
Luke,
all my Happiness Review, which I got shots for at the rooftop for him.
Yep.
And I sent them to him. So like I'm always looking out for my friends' brands, and I really believe that. And I talked to, I forget if it was Jack or Darian, but I really felt like anybody on that rooftop that one night they could make it in a week. They could be, I could see you, like the podcast literally took off, 300,000 followers. You're doing it to the point, you're doing it up, you're going wherever. I could see Chris being signed full time. I could see Darian touring the world. I could see myself. I could see anybody perfecting their craft to the point where we could do it full time,
100%, and I see the same exact thing with that squad.
Yeah.
And Cisneros said it on the podcast, and that's when he mentioned you.
Yeah.
He's like, you have to be very careful with the people you surround yourself with. You surround yourself, especially in the nightlife industry like he's in.
Yeah.
And there's people who just like to go out and enjoy themselves.
Right,
But
yeah.
he goes, you can get caught up in that, and I got to remember and remind myself that I'm trying to make it somewhere bigger than that.
Right, yeah.
And that's why I think you guys together is great because you're both going after something. And then when you find somebody that is a ride or die that you could trust, that becomes like a brother to you, and they're also going after something, that energy that you guys have together is priceless.
Right, yeah, it is. And it's like, people don't understand, like, we're splitting gas to go to these places. Like, other duos ain't doing that, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're doing it like brothers actually should. And that becomes super enjoyable for both of us, But I also enjoy, like, for me, like, I have some opportunities for event planning coming up where actually with Jack and Wilson, where we're gonna basically gonna do a vendor group for all vintage and all my friends' brands. So I'm telling you about it now live on the podcast, but we're gonna have a bunch of it's gonna be in Bound Brook, which is like right over here. But it's basically gonna be like on a Sunday afternoon, kind of like a flea market style, but basically gonna have like 30 of my friends' brands with Cisneros and Darian DJing. And it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be, I don't have the date locked in yet, but I'm going to get it to everybody in a flyer made as soon as it's done. But it's going to be basically an event for building your brand. So I have a lot of friends with brands, and I love my friends' businesses, and I want to see them build, and I want to see them grow. Because we all have to help each other, because we're all going to elevate each other and come to the top. So that's going to happen very soon, and I'm super excited for that. And it's like the first big event that I've actually planned on my own, because all the other events that I've done have kind of been through Chris or through other people, and I'm like, now I can finally tackle one that's mine. So
yeah, 100%. That's gonna be fucking electric. Well, I'll fucking be there.
Yeah.
And what you said about bringing people up, one thing I've been trying to do now is making sure that I am always, in some way, shape, or form, representing one of my friends' things. Like one of their projects, what they're going after. On the podcast, I always like to wear clothes that was made by my friends. Like this is one of pretty much Grateful Grails right here, and then the Happiness Review, dunks for Sam Johnson. It's all day. Like there's I want to have meaning behind everything I'm doing, and I know, it's cool to wear name brand stuff every once in a while when you're talking specifically about clothing. You got Supreme, you got all those, Kith and all these brands, but I think it's even better to rock your friends' stuff and what they're doing and show off what they have going on and what they're going after.
Yeah, even you, like, I like giving my friends discounts, and then, like, a lot of my friends don't accept the discount, like you didn't, and then just gave me double it, which is hilarious. I'm like, God damn it, Red, but I do really appreciate that. But I do the same thing, like, like for example, shout out to Silky Club, Jack Zhang and Wilson's brand. Amazing, amazing quality. Like literally, like I'm not even saying that because it's my friend's brand. It's just the art behind this tee and everything behind Silky Club right now, or Silky Connect, because it's been a recent name change, is just amazing. And I'm so happy wearing these shirts, and I'm so happy representing my friends' brands, and so happy to be collaborating with a lot of my friends' brands coming soon. But yeah, like I love when I'm buying something from my friend. I'll do the same thing you did. I'd rather give one of my friends double the money for a piece of clothing versus ask for a discount, because when you shop Nike or you shop all these big brands, are you asking for a discount at the outlet? No. You're just buying it for whatever it's worth. So why would you ask your one friend for a discount? You know what I'm saying?
Never, listen, this is a golden rule of life. Like, people don't realize this. You never ask your friends for a discount.
No,
Whatever
yeah.
you're doing, you should support them to the fullest. And so when you're like, especially in like owning a bar, like everybody wants free drinks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you know, like the real ones, like your true friends come in, they hand you the card, start the tab, run it. Not like, you know, it's, you just, and that was something from the beginning. No matter what, when I would ask a customer if they had something, I always try to do this too.
Yeah.
A lot of the customers, a lot of regulars that come in all the time, I would try to like support what they have going on.
Yeah, take care.
And they'd be like, oh, well, for you, Red, you give me this. I said, no. I said, how much does it actually cost? Like, what would you sell this to somebody? And when they tell me, you fucking double it. Or you give them like $20, you know? Like, and I used to joke about that too, you know, family and friends, the family discount. I would say my cousin, he was big into medical device sales, and he was working at RWJ. He's having a lot of success.
Yeah.
So I used to tell him, I said, dude, come by the fucking bar every once in a while, because Red's was right down the street from RWJ. I said, come grab a drink or two. You know what I'm saying? I said, I'll hook you up with a family discount. I'm going to charge you 3 drinks for every one you buy. Because that's how it fucking goes, you know? Support your friends, support your family, and you don't take discounts from them, and you never ask for it. You always fucking support them to the max, and even give them more.
I could speak a lot on, like, especially working with friends. I don't think people, and like I said, I'm only 22, so I'm not like some business guru or have all like the business knowledge in the world, but I could tell you some key things to like not stay away from, to have like, don't ignore the red flags. Like, I know everyone says it with like relationships and things, but the same goes for business. Like, I've worked with friends, I've worked with family members, I've worked with, you know, a lot of people, and there was a lot of learning lessons that I learned, and I'm not going to bring up any names, but like, there was a partner for Grateful Girls for a while, and it just ended up not going the way we wanted it to. But it was a big shout out to that guy, because he helped me build this brand when it was in Philadelphia for 9 months or however long that it was. And it wouldn't have been able to get here without, you know, him. And I'm super grateful for that. And you should be grateful for what happened, and try not to hate the person that was once your friend, because business can get in the way of a lot. Because there's money, and there's equity, and there's contracts, and there's LLCs, and there's all these things that people don't really notice, and obviously that you deal with on like a daily basis with the bar. But yeah, those are really important things, and there's ways you can do things. Like, for example, me and Carrie, we have 2 separate businesses, but we share a storage unit, and it works perfectly. So you got to find the way to make it work, and once you figure that out, you're golden. You know, like, I know the people I can and can't work with, and it's very simple, because I've unfortunately had a lot of fuck ups, but you learn from those, you know.
And that's, dude, the fuck ups and the mistakes, like, you just learn from that, and it continues on. And there's no way to ever bypass that. You will always go through that. You know, I went through a million of them. You know, and you just learn from it. And it's cool to have. For me, I had my uncle and my dad who have been in the industry forever, so I could always call them and ask, "What do you think I should do? This and that." And I think one thing my uncle was always good at, and my dad as well, is just allowing me to figure it out for myself, but or just offering their advice about, you know, because sometimes you think something's a big deal, and then call my uncle and he's like, oh, come on. He's like, that'll happen all the time. Don't even worry about it. Just move on to the next. And then some things you might think are not that big of a deal, and you talk to him like, all right, well, this happened to me one time. Maybe you should do this. But it's impossible to ignore the downs, and it's all ups and downs, but when you face that, you learn from it.
Yeah, almost immediately too. Like, it's not even like, I know it probably sounds cliche, but that shit will hit you in the face right away. Like, losing a friend, a business partner, things like that, it's not fun to go through, you know. And
that's tough.
Especially when it's like family related, and it can be sometimes. But it's all a learning lesson, and you know, like I said, with anything in my life, I wouldn't go back and change a thing. And I'm really happy with where I am today. And it's not always going to be easy, but life isn't supposed to be easy. So yeah, but with that, and you know, I was gonna say that's not even related to that, because we were talking before about discounts, is that they're lucky that I wasn't at Reds when I was old enough, because I'm not big on running tabs, but I would have ran up a huge tab in your place, just knowing it was yours.
Yeah,
I'm
just
like,
running it,
that's
dude.
the night I spent $200 on drinks, because I never ever do that ever. Like,
Let's fucking go.
I'm the
dude.
like one drink guy, a couple of shots, you know what I'm saying? But your bar would have ran it up.
Well,
in
that's
for sure.
and again, everything we're talking about right now, it's interesting because it comes down to the type of person that person is, or
Yeah.
their character, and what kind of morals they have. Because you could go into business with family or friends, but if they're not the type of person that is willing to respect you, or that, you know, the type of person that might screw you over,
Yeah.
then it's going to end up bad. And that, you know, what's funny is my two good friends own the record for the highest tabs at Reds, and it was, I've never said this before, but the two highest tabs in history were from Sam Johnson and Calderon, the commissioner, James Calderon. Those two guys had the two highest tabs in history, because
I don't even want to know what the tab is.
They were up there.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
But again, it goes back because I was so close with them that they wanted to do that at
Yeah.
Reds, you know, and it was great. And of
And
course,
that's how you know, which I know you have a great relationship with Sam John. That's how you know that's your guy now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? He just ran up a huge tab in your bar. Doesn't have to do that at all. And it's just straight out of love. Like, because,
Yep.
you know, that's your place.
he went
so-
on a 2-week tear after
Yeah.
spring break.
2 weeks, yeah.
And when he had, I mean, because you can look on the back end and see like the tabs, right? So
Yeah.
everybody would start tabs. So I was looking at all of Sam Johnson's tabs
Yeah.
from like a 2-week span. It was crazy. And so what I did was I to thank him, I ended up getting him a pair of St. John Dunk Lows, which is
Yeah.
what I'm wearing right now.
Yeah.
And because he had been talking about how bad he wanted the St. Because I told you we would talk about dunks.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how bad he wanted it, and then I ended up getting him, and we had the whole crew there, and I surprised him with the dunks.
Yeah.
But there was something that was cool because it wasn't a favor for either of us. Like,
No.
I wasn't doing him a favor, and he wasn't doing me a favor. He did it because he genuinely wanted to
straight
do it.
out of love, yeah.
And then I did it because I genuinely
Right.
wanted to do it. It was and that, when you feel that relationship, you feel that energy, that's when you know. And I think it
Yeah.
is tough because not everybody knows how to feel out that energy, and
Yeah.
not everybody will know. And then you kind of learn along the way.
You want to know a great story? My first ever sale at Grateful Grails ever was a pair of shoes I bought at Marshall's. And one of my best friends, shout out Jared Zimbardo, the baseball player I told you about, bought them off me for 40, knowing I spent 20 on them because he was with me when I bought them. And I was like, dude, I love you. Like, you don't have to do that. And he was like, I like them, and there was none left, so I'm giving you 40 for them. You know what I'm saying? And like, I was like, no, just take them for 20. He's like, no, I'm giving you 40. And like, he was firm on giving me 40. And like, that's how you know, like, that's one of your guys. Like, you know, for
Yep.
as something as stupid as $40 shoes. But
Never ask the price. You just fucking say, this is what I'm giving you, and that's it. And it better be enough
Yeah.
that it's so high that you're like, dude,
Yeah.
this is not what I should be accepting from you. But you
Right.
know what? You fucking give it to him, and
Yeah,
and that's
he
how it
still
goes.
has those shoes. Like 2 or 3 years later, I go over to his house. I'm like, you still have these damn shoes you bought off me? He's like, yeah, I'm not getting rid of those. And then,
Never.
No, I
and
never
that's
did.
the first sale. I
Yeah.
mean, he's got to keep
Yeah,
those.
he's gotta keep
that's
those.
a
They-
grail.
they might be,
That is
yeah.
a grateful grail.
Grail, yeah.
Grail. That is it.
You know what's
First sale
funny?
ever.
How you're doing that is how I literally. You want to know how I came up with the name?
This was a question I wanted to get to: is how did you come up with the name Grateful Grail?
Okay, so my name was Bad Kid Thrift, and I was younger. I was like 19 or 18 when I made the page, and I was just kind of like confused. You know, I just felt like a bad kid. Like I was always like thrifting like crazy T-shirts, like not vintage, but I remember like crazy T-shirts. Like I thrifted this shirt that said "fuck you" with 2 middle fingers straight down. Like that's the shit I was thrifting, like nuts. And then I was like, I asked a couple of my friends, like, do you like this name? And they were just like, yeah, it's okay. And I was like, you know what? Like, the name's not for everybody, you know? But, so then September of 2021, or 2022, sorry, I sat down in my apartment at Ryder when I was living there, and I was like, this is when I had a partner at the time, and I was like, you know, I really want to make a change to the name. And it took me 2 full weeks, you know what I'm saying? I've never done any hallucinogenic drugs, but I feel like I kind of needed that like vibe for what I needed to. So I literally sat there, I ran, I skipped class a bunch, and I just listened to old music. So I was listening to 70s, 80s, 90s music, specifically 70s, because my dad showed me all that music, which is why Chris and my dad get along so well. They're on my dad's computer bumping 90s techno. He's like, this is what I used to listen to. Because my dad used to go to DJs. Not DJs. My dad used to go to Bar A. And like he used to go down the shore. So he's like, this is what they played back in 88 or whatever. So, but I listened, and then I was actually listening to a Billy Joel song, and then next came up a Grateful Dead song. So I was thinking of Grateful was on my mind, grateful, grateful, grateful. And I didn't want my name to associate vintage or thrift, because every business did. It was blank vintage, blank thrift, blank this. So I was just thinking of like thinking of something I wear, and I was like, you know what? I have a lot of Grail T-shirts, and a Grail technically is like a holy Grail. And in the vintage community, it's like if you find a Grail, it's a very expensive T-shirt. So then after 2 weeks of listening to music and skipping class and doing all that, I eventually just put Grateful Grails together. And at the time, me and my partner loved it, and I still like, it's my baby, and I love it, and I would never change the name. And I'm glad that there was really no other vintage accounts even associated with that name at all. And then it stuck, and I've had that name for about a year now, And I think the year leap I've made this year was pretty significant, and I'm really, like, I'm super excited now that I have my name and I know what I want to do with it, that only the sky's the limit with what I want to do. So.
That's, you just saying that now, over the past year, like the leaps you've made and what you've done,
Yeah.
it's crazy for me to think that the name is only a year
Yeah.
old. Because really, it's very established now. Like, I came into it when I learned about it and everything, and I don't know, we're getting into the details on this podcast,
Yeah.
but just to see where it's at now, it's crazy that it's only over the past year.
Yeah, like, I put a lot of hard work and detail into it, and, you know, I've had a lot of help from friends like Carrie and, you know, Jack Zhang, who designed my new logo, which is Middle Eastern inspired. So if you see it, it's like a little bit of an Arabic font, and he's an artist, and I trust him with any type of art, and he's an amazing artist. So
He's a beast. Shout out to Jack. He was just here?
Yeah,
he
he was just here. Is he still here or no?
Shout out to Jack Zhang.
Yeah,
He's
shout out to
awesome.
Jack
Met him
Zhang.
at the release party, too.
Yeah. Oh, you did? You met
That's
him
where I
there?
met him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, I don't pick favorites with the people that Chris showed me, but he's got to be like one of the top guys. I love hanging out with Jack, and his mind, super unique. Like, we'll come here sometimes, and like, because he's working on clothes too at Soki Club, and we'll sit down and work and just kind of like make new ideas for either collabs that we got coming or like my clothes. And I actually thrifted because he does mixed martial arts, I thrifted a vintage Komodo for him. And I was like, I sent him a picture. I'm like, you like this? He's like, dude, I love it. I'm like, well, it's yours. So he's like, no way. I was like, yes way, it's yours. So yeah, so he designed my logo. I got into Reels recently, which is like something I was lacking on my page, and Corey helped me out with that. And like, I've been really trying to tackle every opportunity that I have, and like literally trying to squeeze the orange to the max. And life is very busy. Like, I work, and I have a Division I commitment to run that I'm still love and wanting to do. And then I have events sometimes. So it's like, the moral is that you got to make it work. And like, sometimes you'll get tired, and sometimes like you may not want to do it, but if you love it enough, you're going to fucking do it. So, and I feel like lately, I've just been getting everything that I need to get done. And it's just that you got to be patient, and that, like I said, the sky's the limit. And I feel like it's going everywhere where I want it to go. And even beyond that, you know, like, I didn't think a year ago I'd be doing a collab with you about a jacket I gave you, you know, and those things are so organic and sick and can't be repeated anywhere else, you know. Like, another page cannot do what we did, you know what I'm saying?
No, 100%.
They just can't. So, yeah.
Because it's the energy. And you're right. You have to fucking show up, and you have to make it happen.
Right.
And it's interesting because what I've started to realize along that topic is, with the podcast and where I'm going with the social media and everything, being able to and having the opportunity to go to these events, that energy is there because of the people that are there, and they're what's making it such a great event and such a great night, and whatever we're doing, such a great day. And I realized, I was like, you know what? I'm talking about all these events and everything we're doing on the podcast, and that content is being out there. I'm like, why don't I just show it? Why don't I just bring the camera?
Yeah.
And that clip we have of you bringing me the jacket and capturing the energy of when I first had the jacket and tried it on, if you don't have the camera with you, you can't capture it.
Right.
I'm like, yo, we can actually capture these moments, and it's all a matter. There's so many of our friends there, and it's, again, sometimes it's tough to find who's going to film, who's going to do this, who's going to do that. But when you have your friends there, everybody's trying to help each other. And then, of course, shout out to Mikey Skiz, because he filmed, you know, like he filmed. Man. And when you can capture that, I started to realize, you know what? I don't want to miss these moments.
Yeah.
I want to capture this, and then that's what's going to really connect all the dots.
Right. Get him known on Wall Street, or not Wall Street. Get him something where he's holding a camera, because
dude, he's the guy, bro.
He was like, action.
Yeah, he was just
every time,
dude.
It was
and we talked about on his pod that we did a follow-up one recently, and he was head of security at Reds.
Yeah.
And
which I didn't know until, like, I forget who told me that, but when we were on the rooftop, I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm around a security guard, and someone was like, you are. That was the head of security at Reds. And I was like, well, that makes sense, because
he's the type of guy where, and he has his own company now, he knows exactly how he wants things to be done, and he's going to do it that way, and he's going to instruct his people how to do it that way. I was the same way at Reds. There was a very specific way I wanted things done, and he's the type of guy where if you tell him how you want something done, you tell him once, you never have to tell him again. He will do it exactly that way. And he was the guy who was always watching, the guy who was always flashing everybody, making sure they were good.
Yeah.
If he saw something, he would flash, keep the eye. And he has such a fun way about him doing all those things that he also makes it enjoyable.
He's really like a big teddy bear.
But he doesn't fuck around.
Yeah.
He does not fuck around. He does it exactly how it's supposed to be done. With the camera, I was like, this is how it should look because I have a specific vision and I know from editing all the clips, this is how it should look when it's finished. And if we film it this way, it will look that way.
Right.
And so I told him, and then he's like, all right, so you want me to do it this way, that way, whatever? Told him, and then bang, he got it. And it was just like, it came out perfect.
No, he did. He did it perfect. I got, it just at Alumni Day, like I said. A lot of friends, obviously, but there were some people, like, I kind of just knew from just their faces. They were like, yo, that clip you did with Red was awesome. Like, that was super cool. And I was
this
like...
This was homecoming at Reds?
This was,
at Rutgers?
This was, what's today, Monday? So it was 2 days ago. It was Saturday.
Yes, at Rutgers homecoming.
Yeah, it was I was at Queens. I was at Hughes. I was just seeing all my friends. They were like, yo. And it was more like the older kids, like that grade, like...
well, your guys, Reynolds, Matt Seaman.
Yeah, those guys.
Fucking boys, dude.
Those.
Shout out to those guys, the fucking boys.
Those kids are 2 years older than me, but I grew up with those kids playing basketball, playing baseball when we were a lot younger, football. So, yeah, but they gave me a shout out, and they were just like, yo, it's super cool, keep it going. And that really feels like I love hearing that from people that I know, you know, because those are the people before the eyes really reach to the big stage that we wanted to. It's going to be the local people who are going to see it.
100%.
You know, and you gotta reach that organic, you know, crowd that you have because those are going to be like even Chris said. It's like as a joke, he's like, I got 6,300 fans because those are his followers. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yeah, I guess so if you really look at it like that. And I'm like, when someone's following you, they're technically subscribing to all the content that you put out there. You know, so I love like connecting with people, and this all goes back to not being too big for whoever the fuck because you're not, you know, you're really, you're never too big for any of these people. I saw so many people I saw on Saturday that I was so happy to see, and I'll keep those people in my mind the next time I'm doing a video or doing something like that.
Dude, whenever I see somebody from the Reds golden era,
which I missed.
Dude, which you missed, which Reynolds and Matt and them, they caught the tail end of it. They were part of the golden era and then the very end because we closed Reds. But you know, whenever I see somebody from that era and those people I became so close with, the energy I feel and the happiness I have is just unmatched. And it's true because those people that first build things with you, they are the building blocks.
Right.
Like, and that's how I feel about Cisnero, Brandt, and those guys. Like, they were the first resident DJs of Reds.
Yeah.
They helped build the next chapter. There was a whole year of, and the year before they helped build it because they were the ones bringing and telling their friends about Reds. So, like,
talk about
that's the people. Yeah. That's the people.
Because we can promote an event, you know. I know Chris can too. So like, he said people from Montclair were coming to Reds, you know.
Oh,
like,
dude, it was
everywhere.
just insane. I mean, it was not, but those people, it's true. That organic circle, those first few friends you have, the ones that first support you.
Yeah.
It's important to never forget them. And it's not like, you know, we're some famous A-list celebrities, but when you're doing things and you're going after something, at a certain point, you start to reach a bigger audience. I've experienced it with Reds. A very massive audience in the state of New Jersey. Pretty much everybody who walks this goddamn
the greatest state in the union.
If the greatest state in the fucking union. You know, I know a lot. The majority of people in this state I am connected with, and if I'm not connected with them, one of their friends, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, but before that, the only reason that was possible was because the people who were coming to Reds before all that crazy, you could call it fame, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It was those people every single day, and those people made that possible.
Right.
So you can't forget them. You got to make sure you're always friends with them.
Right.
They're all recording now?
Yeah.
Damn, great catch by Corey.
Yeah.
This is, we got to shout out Corey.
Shout out Corey Romano.
And it's great. It's funny because it's not the normal Corey. So I have my camera guy's Corey. What did you say, Corey Romano?
Yeah, Corey
Let's
Romano.
fucking go.
Yeah.
Just caught that. The charger wasn't in. That's huge because it always dies.
I know when you said Corey, because I know the other Corey from the other podcast. I'm like, well, I got a Corey who does video too, so he's gonna help out today.
And you know what it is? It's again, it goes back to, it continues with the pod because like making it happen, like showing up, making it happen. Corey is so busy. He owns his own company. He owns his own videography, photography company, and he's so busy, you know. And it's cool that me and him were friends for so long and that we get to build the podcast together.
Did you know him from high school or no?
I knew him from before high school.
Okay.
So we kind of grew up together. My best friend Terrence, who now lives in Hawaii, I've talked about before, he was a surfer, one of the best surfers to come out of Manasquan.
Wow.
Him, Pat Schmidt, and Corey Frank were like the top three legends of the Manasquan Inlet. You ask any Grom who surfed the Manasquan Inlet, they know Pat Schmidt, Terrence Dahl, Corey Frank. They are legends.
What was your friend's name who was with Mike and Noam when we were in Atlantic City last time? Blonde guy? I see him at DJs all the time.
Oh, Matty Edwards.
Dude, dude, another great guy.
That's
I
the
got
guy.
To talk to
Him and Mondo,
Bro.
OG Trench Mob.
Yo,
they were sending DJs with me in 2019. We would all send together. We were the ride or die. We called it the OG Trench Mob, the OG Trenches. And it was every Thursday and Sunday religiously, like Thursday night, Sunday night. When Sunday nights used to be popping, dude.
Yeah.
And of course we would go Friday and Saturday nights too. But it was like Thursday, Sunday was religious. Like it was just and we just formed such a good friendship. Mondo and I go back, and so do Edwards. I coached Edwards when he was younger. And then Mondo was actually a freshman when I was a senior in high school. I was really good friends with his brother Dylan. And he used to come to all the basketball games with me. So like we formed a friendship. But dude, those guys through and through, one of the best two people out there.
Yeah.
And Edwards, man, everybody who meets him says that.
I just love because your energy is like contagious. Like people, and especially when we're with our crew, man. Oh, it's like the energy's through the roof. And then you bring a guy like Matt Edwards, right? That's his name, and then he'll come in there like the energy is like.
Off the charts.
You know when you see the volume thing, it's like a meme. It's like going through the roof.
Yes.
Like we're at or at Rutgers at the Chop. You know, and they're like the volume's going. That's like when you're with us, the volume is like 100 times through the roof.
It's insane. It can't be measured.
It's
completely off the scale.
And I wish people, and that's why I love the camera being there, because you can like experience it a little bit. Obviously, it will be nothing like being there, and but. It's good to have that visual for people who's like, well, this is something really cool that we're doing right now, you know?
Yeah, you know what? And it is what you were just saying about the camera. It's tough because you want to make sure it's still that organic energy. You don't want to like create something that isn't there. But I think with our crew, it's just so natural for them. Like when I was filming Keats and then I would come down and film the rest of the crew, it was just what was going on. And everybody's like vibing and it's very natural.
100%. And I think like, you know, a lot of people, like for me, like I said, I'm only 22, like, and I would say my memory is pretty good, and I keep a lot of the things I told myself when I was 17 still ring in my head today. You know, like, you want to be here, you're interested in making content, you're interested in clothing, you're interested in running, so try to make a way to fit that all in your life, which I think I successfully have. Now that I have that, let's take it to the next level. How far can I reach this where I could actually make that my life, where I could do my vintage full time, where I could run to the point where it's like a block in my schedule that can never be removed from my life. You know, those things I want staying in my life. And I even talked about this, I forget with who the other day, but I had ideas that are now opportunities. Those ideas, they were ideas when I was 17, 18. Now they're opportunities when I'm 22. So it's completely on me if I don't take those opportunities. And now it's like, you were dying for this 4 years ago when you couldn't go out, when you didn't have the opportunities. Because I had older friends who were like able to network in New York City, and like I could do that now. So I don't ever say no to anything. And I'm not a yes man in the sense of like, you try to get me hammered, you can't. I'm not that type of yes man. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a yes man when it comes to opportunity. You know, like I never turn down an opportunity, good or bad, because you really don't know how it's gonna go. There's times where I've driven to New York way too late at night, way too early back in the morning, you know? But I'm, yet again, no pun intended, super grateful for every single opportunity I've received this summer specifically, because this summer for me was personally life-changing, completely life-changing, with meeting you and all these new people, and like people I can consider really great friends and people I can call at any point in time. And it feels super good when people are like, hey, I want to organize a photo shoot and I want you to run it. Or hey, I want you to style me for this event. Or hey, I want to buy my clothes off of you. You know, that holds a special spot in my heart that will never, you know, I'll never forget about. I'll be 60 and thinking about a lot of those things. So
yeah, whenever you hear that, it brings you back to like, damn, I'm so glad that I did all those things to lead me to this point. And I think when you're going after something, it's when you, like for Reds, right, for instance, I took every opportunity I could to bring people in. Like every party that wanted to book, I always said yes. Of course, you can't book 2 parties at once depending on the space, but I always said yes, and I always figured out a way to make it work. And because of that, the word started to spread, and then more opportunities started to present themselves because I created the opportunities first. And I always said yes, and I never said no to any opportunity that I thought could further it.
Right.
And then you get to a point where all of a sudden you have all these people who want to be at Reds. And you're like, damn, I'm so glad that I didn't say no back then, because this person now brought a whole nother 300 people for another party a year later.
It all pays off.
It all pays off. And it's, again, when you're in the space where you're not sure what you're doing, you're questioning whether or not it's right, that is the time when you take every single chance and you take every opportunity that you can, and you never say no.
Right.
Because it could just take one person,
and
one connection.
I truly feel like I'm one step away, and I feel like I said, everyone on that rooftop, all my friends are one step away. You are one podcast away. Chris is one song away. I'm one sale, one style, one phone call away from where I want to be. And that's all because we took advantage of every single opportunity. And like, it looks different to everybody because they're like, oh, what are you doing in New York City at Lavo? How is that going to be an opportunity? But you don't know that I just met a DJ who wants me to style them for their show across the country. Now I got to ship them clothes. Like that's the opportunity that you're not seeing, you know?
Yes, and people miss nightlife opportunity as well.
Yes, and that's why I don't drink when I go out to these things. And like I have a good time, but I'm so locked in on making sure I don't miss an opportunity. Like, shout out Sebastian, because I know we shouted him out last time.
Yo, shout out to Sebastian, dude.
Yeah,
he's a good dude. I texted him the other day. I was going out for dinner. I needed a nice spot. We were going to go to the city. I hit up Sebastian. I said, hey, you're the guy to text about this. What are some good spots? Got back to me, gave me a list. And he's like, this one's my favorite, but these are all good spots.
Yes. No, yeah. And I know, and, you know, hospitality in general. And then shout out Lawanda and Francis because they do an amazing, that's my favorite hospitality group by far. He does the best organic events possible. They're so good. And, you know, with the rooftop, I was like, I don't know if people knew this, but at first I was really nervous. The power went out. And there was a party there before, so which wasn't supposed to be there. So I was like, dude, this is like really a wreck because I had models coming, I had people coming. I was like, I can't have them come into a flopped event. But I'm in my head, I'm like, Lawanda has never flopped ever, ever. I've been to every single, not to every single, but I've been to a lot of events by then. I was at Don Felix in Elizabeth, and I went to the one that Darian and Chris did. That was both Lawanda's events. They don't flop ever. So like, that's why, and it was organically run where he's there interacting with everybody. So shout out to him. But back to what I was saying before, and talking about the consistency of like, essentially not, you were talking about it before, not taking no as an answer. You know, like I have friends, and another shout out to Josh Ramirez, he's a football player at Muhlenberg, someone who's gotten hurt a million times and refuses to lay down and be like, yo, I'm going to stop playing football because of this. You know, that's why the people and friends I have right now, because we have all very similar mindsets of like, I'm not backing down and I'm taking this opportunity and I'm trying to bring it there. And like, that's why I feel like I've been able to elevate to a new place that I wasn't at before. And I know it sounds too cliche to like watch your circle and how small it is, but it's really true. You know, like I really feel like I have the correct people around me to get to the places that I want to be right now. So
yeah, 100%. And dude, I'm telling you, I feel that same energy.
Yo, I know.
You know, it's crazy,
I
dude.
Know, you see it.
I'm like, these
Bro,
are the people.
That day, I think I had a meet, but I wasn't racing yet because I'm coming back in December. But I had a meet, and you're hitting baseballs at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, no one. It's Saturday morning, so everyone's probably bombed from Friday night, and I'm like, of course, Red's up, cracking baseballs at 6 o'clock in the morning. What else would he be doing, right? So I sent you DM all day. You're like, fire me up. I'm crushing baseballs right now. I'll see you tonight because it was that night of the rooftop.
Yes.
Yeah, so now, like, that's the type of energy. And that takes. I don't even need a coffee. I know Folgers for the soldiers.
Folgers for the soldiers.
I know
all
it's
day.
a big thing, but I didn't even need a coffee that day because I'm so fired up off that text.
No, pure energy.
Pure
it's just
energy.
Like when you have the energy that is pure lightning, it's just, and when our friends are all together, that energy is it. Like that, it's unmatched, and it will keep you going. And then you start to realize, hey, these are the people I want to be around. And when I have something going on, and even when we're just going out to enjoy ourselves, where we might not be going out, like even if we were just going out to all just have a good time, still being around those people and being able to experience that night or that day or whatever you're going or doing with those people, it's so refreshing, and it just will motivate you to keep going.
It's irreplaceable. We got to send a Devils game for sure. And
we have to
go to the beer garden.
And that's another thing I was going to say with where I'm going with the content, because you were talking about it before, and I want to follow up and find out where you're going with everything.
Yeah.
But the Devils now, for anybody who doesn't know, there's another Reds in Newark, and it's right next to Prudential Center. A lot of people do know about it now. There's still a lot of people that don't. There's also one in the Meadowlands right next to MetLife Stadium. It's about a quarter mile up on the right. We shuttle people to the games. You could go park at Reds.
Yeah.
You get the shuttle, you pay for it, and then you're in and out of the game. It's the quickest way to go. So if you don't like the tailgate, you could go in, grab a bite to eat, grab some drinks, and then when you're ready, the shuttle will take you there, and then it'll bring you back after the game. Mm-hmm. We do it for concerts as well. The Prudential Center Reds, which is in Newark right next to it, is like you walk out of our door, you walk into Prudential Center.
Yeah.
And the Devils have just been absolutely insane. So when we closed New Brunswick, I went right back there to helping my dad, who runs that location, and then my uncle runs the one in the Meadowlands. But now I'm starting to see so many people that I met over the last couple of years that are all going to those games because they're so good. So even if you're not just a strict hockey fan or a Devils fan that has season tickets, which, by the way, a ton of people I know do, you'll go to those games.
Shout out to Andrew Bruder, because I think he has season tickets.
Does he have Bruder has tickets?
I don't. Well, Chris and him went to a.
I went to the playoffs last year.
Yeah,
I saw
think.
him.
Were you there?
Yeah, I was
of course
working.
you were there. Yeah. No. So I think I don't know if he gets them through work or something, but he was telling me like, yo, we got to go to a Devils game.
I
this
told
year.
Italo at the waiting room the other night. I said, dude, I was talking to some people. Let's try to line up the whole squad going to a Devils game.
Yeah.
And so what I'm trying to do with the content along those lines is, now that New Brunswick is closed and I'm doing kind of content full time, I want to go and highlight what's going on at those places, at those Reds locations. And we also have the Roosevelt. That's like a nice dinner spot in East Rutherford.
Because guess what? Reds isn't dead. You know, it's just beginning. So
it's alive.
You gotta. And I never experienced New Brunswick location, but I've been to Newark, and like I had a great. I was the guy I mentioned before, Mike Schweier and all them, and Sharice. Like we all went to. And I don't think they realize either. Like this is Reds. Like this is Reds. You know.
Yeah, a lot of people don't put that together, but it's cool because now people are. But it would be, now that I have the opportunity to do this, I told you I'm trying to diversify the content a little bit. Going to those events now, there's just so many people that I'll know that I could interview. And then, of course, there's tons of people that I could interview that I don't know as well, and just get some cool, funny interviews with fans and how they're feeling about the season, certain games and stuff.
Get a lot of Devils fans,
so that's my plan with that. And I think it's funny because my dad's so old school, you know, business guy. He's like, oh, whatever. I was like, I think I'm going to come up and film, you know, some interviews and get some content for the page for Reds. And it'll be cool because then I could build the Reddcast along with helping get the awareness of Reds Beer Garden now in Newark.
Right.
And more people will start to find out that that's our spot, and it is related to that, because think about how many people go to Rutgers or in this area, then they move to Jersey City or Hoboken after they fucking graduate, and they're all up there in that area. Now they're all going to Devils games like, holy shit, that's Reds.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's just full circle. And now you could like continue it to go, like you said, diversify the content. And then,
I think that'll go well with the podcast as well, because I was doing podcasts once every Monday. And I always do about 6 clips a day. So 3 in the afternoon, like early afternoon, 3 at night for the whole week, highlighting whatever the guest story is and all the clips from that episode. So now what I want to do is try to make the Reddcast into a full-on entertainment network.
Right.
And start doing these interviews, because you think about it, the Tulo Bila release party was like the first test of that model. And we got so many good interviews, so many good clips. And those clips are more shareable. More people are entertained because they see more people that they know in those clips.
Yeah.
And they'll share it. It'll reach their friends, and they'll be like, yo, look, that's Habeeb and Red. Look what they just did. Or that's Anon and Habeeb. Look at that. Look at Anon firing them up.
Greatest duo right there.
Dude, right? That's one of the best combos of all time. But doing those events, I think, will also bring out my energy, which is something that in the clips I get to do in the podcast, but it can't always be highlighted. And I feel like a lot of those clips of me interviewing people and just talking to people, it does highlight that energy, and I feel like that'll push more people towards the page, and I could turn it into a thing where I go to events of my friends, I could highlight what they're doing,
Absolutely.
we could do a podcast to go along with it,
Right.
and then we have a whole 2 weeks worth of content to market whatever they have going on.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's super unique too. Like what I always make sure is, especially what I'm trying to do, and I already know that you're doing, is to make sure the content is super unique and super, I wouldn't say catered for a specific audience, but like you gotta have like, this isn't something you just scroll past on Instagram. You're like Red's interviewing Darian. That's a pretty cool thing to see, you know. Even if you're not even sure who Darian or Red are yet, you're gonna know who they are eventually, you know. And that event was just awesome. And like even people like I mentioned before, some of my friends from my town who really aren't even involved in like the life that we are with nightlife and things like that, they were like, that event was so much fun, so cool. I loved that there was modeling. I loved how there was like a little open bar. The music was amazing. Like, and that's why I said like LaWanda does such a great job. But those type of events are the ones I'm trying to chase to be a part of, you know? Because then I could bring my forte to it, clothes, modeling, photography, you know? You could bring your forte with the interviews, with the content, you know? And that's how we all come together, and it's one big mashed up thing. And that's what I'm trying to say to all my friends who have business. And this is why I'm doing this event. I don't have a date yet, but that's why I'm doing that, because you know how many gems that my friends are sitting on of businesses with Silky Club, Sunday Buckets, Reddcast, Thrifters Waste, Grateful Grails. Cisneros is his own brand, but
he's his own
brand, you know. But a lot of brands right there, and I didn't even get into like all of them, you know. And like we gotta, I even told the Jack, constantly stay in the talks with other creators. How can we get better? How can we continue to push content? How can we get to where we want to be? Because that's like ultimately, everyone who's doing what they want to do, want to do it full time. They want to do it to the point where like this is a part of me now, you know, like, and this isn't going anywhere. And that's where personally I'm trying to be. And I know that everybody I'm around wants to be, which is why the energy has been super high, and which is why we connect so well on a personal level, you know?
100% dog.
You get me
this
fired
shit
up,
just
right?
fires me.
Get me fired.
Dude, I can fucking go, dude. But dude, just to wrap that back around, I think it's cool because we've never actually like sat down and had a conversation like this. But to hear you say that, my goal with the Reddcast, and I think I mentioned this to you, is that I'm moving to LA.
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah,
I'm going
awesome.
to LA. I'm moving in with my buddy Will. Shout out to Will.
Yeah, I saw the episode. Cool episode. He's a cool guy.
One of my best friends.
I'll have to come visit with
Absolutely. Anytime you guys want.
Because he's played out there before, so I mean, if the opportunity arises, we can make something happen.
We'll fucking make it happen,
make it
dude.
happen.
But my ultimate goal is, this is why I'm going to LA, and it'll be cool to look back on this and see if it works out. But what I'd like to do is, in New Jersey right now, because of the way Reds took off, I know so many people. I've accomplished a decent amount. I had some success at a young age. Unfortunately, because of the timing of Reds, it had to close. But the impact that it had on my life, I'm so grateful for, because I met so many people, and now I have so many opportunities to go and experience with my friends and see what they're doing. And they're trying to get to the next level. And now it's kind of like a fresh start for me as well. So the reason I'm going to LA is because I think it's going to put me in certain circles with people that have more success than I do in this field.
Right.
And what I want to do is I want to end up making the Reddcast into, something where I can do it sustainably, make it into a business that I'm getting paid and I can actually do this every day, and I won't have to worry about finding money from another source. So I think if I go to LA, that will put me in some circles that will allow me to get to a point where I could do that. And then hopefully it starts to grow to a massive audience, big audience. And then what I could do from there is come back and start highlighting again all my friends' businesses and what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so kind of keep that simultaneous thing going where I'm building my brand, but then also being able to come back and highlight what my friends have going on, which may be even bigger than what I have going on.
Yeah, I know it's not my job, but it's like my internal job. I check in on all my friends who have brands, and I check in on all my DJ friends, and especially Chris, obviously, and like all those people. I'm in constant talks. Like, hey, what are we doing? Like, how are we getting better? Like, pitch me your ideas and this and that, and like hopefully, like I know consistency is gonna equate to success. So while you're in LA doing your thing, we're doing our thing back home. It's like a mountain, it'll reach to the top, and then we're ready to fucking go.
Dude, the parallel and the path just coming together to meet at the top is absolutely electric, because I know it's going to fucking happen.
I have this image in my head, and like I literally dream about it sometimes. I don't care if you say it's corny or not, but it's like, it's Chris, Darian, Josie, Jason Keats, and I know Brant Wolf is a big guy that you're friends with, and I don't know him personally, but I know he's a good DJ. But
he'll be there.
I imagine them on tour. Right?
100%
on tour, because they're very. I mean, some of the guys like are very close. Like even like I know Jason Keats, for example. It was like he's really like one step, because he's always he's the guy before whoever's playing, and he has the talent to be the guy.
Yep.
He has the talent to be the guy at every single venue that we're at. He knows how to spin, and so does Chris, and so does Darian, and so do all of them. So them making it, me styling all these motherfuckers, and me pushing my clothes, and then you there doing the podcast, doing the content.
Yes.
I want this to all be one big thing.
Dude, I had the same fucking vision, dude. I'm telling you, bro. I think about this shit every day,
all day, dude. I think about it every day, and it makes me run harder on my runs. It makes me go harder in the gym. It makes me go harder in every aspect of life. And it's like I didn't have this when I was 18, 17, 16. Like I had myself, and cross country and track, a very individual sport. So I was just tearing it up in my field. And then this field added to myself, and I found people who resonated with them. Like, no, this is an actual team, an entourage, as fucking Chris would say. It's a funny show. I don't know if you've seen it. He loves that show.
Exactly one of the best shows of all time.
It would be Entourage, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. And that's what it is when we go to these places.
It is. Like, we are Entourage, you know? Like, I feel like the C parts when we go, And I can't wait for the day where it comes where we have the ability to be like, hey, we're going to Germany because 2 of our boys have a show, and now we're doing content, and now I'm pushing clothes, and now we're doing everything that we ever wanted to do.
Yep. And dude, that was like one of my ultimate goals, was because I believe that that's going to happen. So one of my ultimate goals was like dude, I want to be there highlighting what they have going on.
Yes.
Like, I want to be the one filming them. Like, if I have all this, if I have this whole system in place, then I want to be the one I want to experience that with them. I want to show off what they worked for. Like, this is the moment they've done it. And so if I could create a system where I get to be the one doing that, and we're all together, then that's the system I want to create.
Right.
And that's the system I want to be a part of. And I think everybody building what they have individually and simultaneously helping each other build their respective crafts.
Daily talks. Stay in the talks.
Dude, it's so
as easy
important.
as you, all day. Caps. That shit gets me going.
All day.
You did that once, and I was in here, and I bring these types of bags and post the bags. I was like, I'm fucking knocking out 3 bags. I'll go to bed at 3, wake up at 6, drank a fucking coffee, ripped my run, went to work. I'm fucking, because I'm the same way. I'm wired. I'll go the same way. Like, I'll go, so my friend's like, when have you slept? And I'm like, and sleep is important. I'm not saying not to sleep, but
not for days.
Sometimes
no,
when you're going,
definitely big.
when you're going for the dream, though,
dude,
you gotta sacrifice
there
a
are
little bit of sleep.
100%. Homecoming, the last 2 years when Reds was open, I slept 1 hour. I took a nap in the office, and then I got up, and we opened at 9 a.m. It was like you closed everything, got everything cleaned up for the night, and then all of a sudden you're opening up at 9 a.m. for the 12 p.m. homecoming game, and then you got the whole night to go.
I know.
But you don't have time. There are.
I was like alumni day too, probably because it was the kids are there at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Kids were pulling 16-hour shifts, 8 a.m.
Insane.
I'm like, what are you doing?
But it's true. When the opportunities are there, you don't sleep. And then there will be time to sleep. Don't worry.
Right,
You will catch up, and you do need it.
Yes.
But when the opportunity is there, you do not sleep. You go for it.
Absolutely.
By the way, I do want to, you just mentioned him, Jason Keats. One thing I will say again, which I noticed about the type of energy that all our friends have, he, like you said, he has the talent. And he has done so many big things and accomplished so many big things. And it was cool to hear his story because he did the podcast as well.
I listened to it. Everyone I knew on your podcast, I listened to so far, every single one.
Yep.
Because first of all, you're the man, and I'm in love with the craft, and also I want to hear about my friends,
Yep.
So I listened to him on the way home from work one time, and it was a really great podcast, and it was good to. I know he makes a joke because in our group chat, he was like, well, in 2012, I graduated high school, and in 2012, I was in 4th grade. So it was just like kind of a hilarious leap because he was like, you guys are probably in 8th grade, and I was like, I was in 5th grade or 4th grade, So he's probably like, and like I said that one time, he's like, dude, you got your whole life ahead of you, So,
yeah. But he is somebody who I noticed, he even mentioned it on the podcast, but it is true. Because it's one thing to say it, but I've watched him do it, and I've just seen it. That's how this whole crew kind of came to be, is he accomplished so much as a DJ and besides that as well, but specifically with the DJing. And then he sees someone like Cisnero and he sees someone like Brant, and he starts to give them opportunities through his group, Stop Playing, and what he has going on. And he starts to bring them along to Atlantic City, to his big shows, talks to the promoter, say, yo, Junior, because everybody knows David Jr. is the guy. Junior, this is the guy we got to have on. He kills it. And he's one of the guys that, I've tried to, along with the Reddcast and what I'm doing with it, I'm trying to model what I'm doing after that. I'm trying to make sure that no matter what happens and wherever I get, I'm trying to bring people along with me that I think are going after it and think have the talent as well. And that's what he did. He's Cisnero, Brant. He's giving them opportunities. Even my guy Yamosa from Reds, he's an OG DJ. He started giving him opportunities, and that's something that I always want to do. And that's why the whole plan with going to LA, I want to create a system where I am, able to do this every day as my full-time thing. And that way I'm able to start giving back. And that way I can start highlighting people. Because I think when it started, once Reds closed, I was doing that. Now, every day I wake up and I figure out, or I'm trying to figure out and thinking about figuring out, how can I make this into something I do every single day? It supports itself financially, so that way I can continue doing it the way I want to.
Right, yeah. And it's going to get there. And you're the same type of guy, dude. People, you met my dad, my brother, my sister at
that was
the
fucking awesome,
every Habeeb came, except my mom, my other sister, but they all came to the Newark. And my dad's a pretty cool dude, but he was like, so I told him he had a podcast, and he immediately started watching it. Because there's if you ever come to my house one day, there's an office, a computer room, notorious where everyone goes to see my dad. My dad's propped up on the computer, playing solitaire or looking up a YouTube video or whatever, because that's just how he is. But he was like, man, this Red guy's really cool, And it resonated with everyone on that rooftop, especially that night. Carrie didn't know you, and now he knows you, And you bring that same type of energy. And that's how I'm here right now. The same thing on my birthday. We started off the podcast like that. My birthday, you were just, Chris was like, yo, Red has a table right next to ours. Because he surprised me with the table. Because I didn't really know a table was coming. We were trying to figure it out in Rich's house. And then he was like, Chris was like, no, we got a table for you. And then he surprised me with the bottle girl saying happy birthday Habeeb and the whole thing. So it was a whole thing, but then I got to meet you. I still have to send you that video of you
with the 42?
Yeah.
Listen, I wasn't even trying to, like, Cisneros was like, you got to fucking drink out of the 42.
Dude.
We had the Magnum 42.
Bro,
He's like, fucking drink out of it. I'm like joking or whatever. And then everybody was looking like I was going to do it.
And then you
I was like, fuck it. I just fucking slugged it. Magnum 42. It's fucking hilarious. You do have to send it because I'll clip it in now in the clips. But to close up, I want to kind of find out where you're going with everything next. What's your plan? You mentioned doing the content and all those things.
Yeah.
Where are you going next? What's happening with Grateful Grails? I know you got the events going on. What's your plan for everything moving forward?
Yeah, so with Grateful Grails, there's like a lot of stuff coming up actually. I have a collab coming with Silky Club very soon. The date will drop, I think, sometime next month, which is Jack Zhang and Wilson's brand, and both just two incredibly talented people. So I'm also looking to make my own merchandise, which is also coming out very soon. So those are two things I'm adding to the arsenal of vintage that I have, as well as events. So I'm doing photography and modeling events for my page and for my friends' brands. So if you're interested in modeling for any of those brands, so I have like a lot of friends who are girls who model, guys, doesn't really matter. And like, I've done modeling before, so I kind of teach them how to do the pose and look. Like, I love that picture that Dan took, the photographer at the last one, where like I literally look like a professional stylist with the jacket and the happiness review hat, and I'm helping my friend Kirsten, shout out to her, with like how I was taught, you know. And then constantly with the what do you call it? With the content, I'm trying to eventually work on a podcast, YouTube, all those things, because I really feel like with the content, that's what's going to bring you to that next level, you know. And I even told Jack this, a lot of people don't know this, I'm eventually going to have my own website, but right now I sell on platforms like Grailed, eBay, and Depop. I'm not sure if you're familiar with like any of those, but
I bought off Grailed before.
Everything here is posted on all three platforms, and then when something sells, I take it off the other two. So it's for all eyes, because something's going to be super popular on one platform and may not reach the eyes on another platform. Like that jacket, when I first had it, was posted on Grailed, and I took it off right away because I liked it too much. And thank God I did, because some guy from the Middle East bought it, and I refunded him because I was like, I'm sorry, dude. Like I didn't even lie to him.
Damn, you're telling me this jacket, the red leather jacket, could be somewhere in the Middle East right now?
Swear to God.
And not myself wearing it.
Swear to God, I'm not even kidding. Like someone, forget where. I think it was like a Middle Eastern country. And that's like, I am Middle Eastern, so I was like, yeah, I'll send it out to the homeland, you know. But I just said, I'm sorry, dude, I got to refund this. So, but things like that. So I have that going as well. And then with my running and my other things, I have 2 more seasons left at Rider, which I'm really excited about. My team has been doing absolutely fantastic. They've been killing it in cross country. Those guys are super special to run with every day, and I'm super grateful for that. So that's everything I got going. Obviously, events, podcasts, things of those natures are coming as well. I'm going to obviously be with you until a couple times before you go out to LA. We got a Slate, October 27th.
Yeah, that's
Cisneros.
huge. Yeah.
Big event. So
we're getting the camera in there. You said they're a little weird with the guy. I don't care. We're getting the camera. Will be there.
I'll talk to him. Okay. We'll make it happen.
You tell him, listen, this is Habeeb, Cisneros manager. We got a content guy coming. He's bringing the camera.
Yeah, we got the man coming, the face of New Jersey. So you better get with it. And I'll clip this little part in, okay? Because this part shows how much better New Jersey is better than New York, okay? I promoted twice in my life, okay? And I didn't like it at all because it didn't fit me, right? And it was Sebastian hooked me up and let me promote, right? I promoted my first time at PhD, and I'm wearing this necklace. I always wear this huge steel chain necklace. Guy looks at me up and down, and he was like, take your jewelry off, it's in fucking New Jersey. And I was like, I didn't say hello. I didn't say anything. I'm like, I'm about to fucking walk home. Like, fuck this guy, you know?
Yeah,
but after that, I never promoted again. I was like, you know, I'm like,
damn, dude.
And that's how, back to the nightlife, that's how it is, you know? But it was a good opportunity, you learn. But fuck New York, because New Jersey's way, New Jersey's way better.
Just to wrap it around.
Just to wrap it out, yeah, fuck New York. But yeah, so that's everything I got going. It was a great pod. I'm super grateful to be here and everything that's going on in my life. And yeah, that's everything I got to say. So.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. This was fucking absolutely electric. Shout out to the guys, Carrie, Corey.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for your help. This was awesome. We made it happen. We got the fucking portable setup rolling.
In the shop. Shout out to Middlesex Storage Unit for
this is electric.
helping it. Yeah. It's
at Grateful Grails.
Yes, at Grateful Grails and Thrifters Waste, because he's got a lot of shit on his side too. So yeah.
Fire. Well, I'm gonna take a look around now and shop a little bit, and then I'm sure this episode will be releasing right on time for some of these events that are going on.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We'll line it up, and we got a lot more events in the future coming up together for sure.
Oh yeah, big time events.
Dope.
Out of the country. So
well, thank you again. This was awesome.
Thank you, brother.
It was an
Appreciate
absolutely electric podcast.
Let's go. Yeah.
And with that, we're out. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, that was great.
Fuck you, motherfucker. You can fucking stop us, dog. It's all down.